Okay, good enough. You pass. That's a wrap. Thanks. Have a good weekend.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's get down the
Okay.
camera here.
So I guess I'll just ask you a bunch of questions about your childhood and that kind of stuff before we get into the general music questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Or do you want to start with just general music?
Oh man, I don't know. You doing this? I'm not doing it.
Don't give him the option.
Okay.
Yeah, don't give me an option because I want to take a nap.
It's got a, what do you need? It's got a jam slate piece. Oh, that's why. They'll both be running the same exact time code. I don't know what it's not. Okay, let's double check the focus and we're good to go.
What is that? A radio broadcast?
The Robin's Nest?
Yeah.
It was a club that mostly had blues, with Don Williams played there.
Huh?
Yeah, it was in Linden, New Jersey.
Oh, you
He
played
played
there.
there every week. It was around for like 8 years or something, so it was cool.
It's not in the middle of nowhere, too, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like it's industrial there.
Good,
You
it
can
was
smell
Louis.
it when you get off the highway.
Oh.
Okay, camera's ready.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna start in. What drives you to play music? What makes you play music?
Oh man, come on! You gotta have something better than that. I don't know what the hell you talking about.
Okay.
Man, you gotta go. I gotta send you to an interview to get some questions there.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about what were your growing up. What were your first musical experiences?
Wait, you got. I can't. You gotta talk.
Okay. So growing up, what was your first musical experience? Were you from a musical family?
No. Well, yes, in a way. Music was always in my house, in the home. We had a piano. Was in the house, and I took piano lessons. To no avail. But music was always around, and I was, involved in the church and church choirs and that sort of thing when I first started my interest in music.
When did you take up saxophone?
When I was around 16, much later. I was mostly involved in sports in high school and junior high. So, but always had an interest in music, listening to music, and my parents required me to expose me to a lot of different music.
So what was the music that was around in your childhood or in your when you were in high school? What were you listening to? What kind of music were you hearing on the radio? What were they playing?
Oh, all kinds. I was from the South, and radio stations they played. There wasn't this big division in music the way it is now. We had they just played good music, and happily so. I heard lots of different music, every kind.
So what attracted? When did you take up sax, and what attracted you to sax?
Well, I always seeing all the great saxophone players like Illinois Jacquet, and those they were with the Jazz at the Philharmonic. It had a showy type presentation, which I liked, and the fun the musicians were having, and I just enjoyed music. I sang in the gospel choir in church, and the glee club in high school. So I was involved somewhat. But my parents, I guess they saw something in me that they gave me a saxophone. I've often wondered how did they pick me? Because they only had one saxophone. There two brothers, me and my brother, and they gave the saxophone to me. So I guess they used to see me imitating holding the saxophone.
How old were you when you got the saxophone?
Around 16, 15, 16.
So what were the saxophonists besides Illinois Jacquet that I think you mentioned him that you were hearing in your mind, or you emulated, you were a fan of?
I heard. Well, I heard a lot of the R&B saxophone players, and the saxophone players in the big bands, because big bands were really swinging then. I was, had Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Stan Kenton, Woody Herman, and they all had great saxophone players. So.
Was there any time in growing up that you saw someone, Count Basie or anyone, a musical live? You saw someone live, and that opened your eyes to live music.
They all did. I mean, I didn't have any special one. Just anybody played tenor saxophone, I was interested. And there were so many guys, and each one was an individual. So I didn't try to pick and choose my favorites. I listened to everybody.
So were you self-taught? Did you have a teacher back then?
Yes, I would say that. I took music lessons, saxophone lessons, from my band director.
Okay, so after high school, then you went into the Army, or what happened next?
I went to college, South Carolina State College, and there I met great saxophonist Aaron Harvey, who was the band director. He had played with Tiny Bradshaw. So he was the band director, and he was there studying to be a lawyer, and he was in charge of the band. And he took me under his wings, and Johnny Williams was a member of that band, the baritone saxophone player for Count Basie, and a lot of musicians from Charleston, South Carolina. And Charleston was a great music town, one of the greatest. A lot of great musicians from Charleston. So they took me under their wings, and I followed.
So did you start, when did you start gigging? Were you gigging at all in college?
Yeah, I got little blues gigs. I was working with a blues band, and they paid me to play, and that started it.
Was there a moment when you knew you wanted to be a professional musician?
Yeah, the minute I got in that band, the dance band, and the dance band had played our junior senior prom, that South Carolina State dance band. So that was my goal. My first goal was to make that band, and everybody was very helpful to me because I was way behind, and they took me under their wings and carried me along. I wasn't knocking anybody out, but they took me under their wings.
So then what happened after college?
I stayed there two years, and then I went into service. And that's where it really began for me. I met Cedar Walton and Eddie Harris and Don Menzer. These guys were playing at the top of their game when they came in the service. We were in Germany. I met there. And everybody's been great to me. They helped me out a lot and helped me develop, made me practice. Eddie Harris would make me practice and told me the importance of it. And we play every weekend. So as the more I played, the more I got into it.
So was there a...
That's me. Yep, that's me. Wait a minute. I can't even find my... Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
So were you in the Army band, or you're just in?
No, I was in the Air Force, and I wasn't in the band at all. But they were in the 7th Army jazz band. They did goodwill tours all through Germany, and I was in the Air Force, but not in the band.
So after you got out of the services, where'd you go then?
I went to Hart College of Music in Hartford, Connecticut, and that was after I spent 3.5 years in the service. And this was way before Jackie McLean got there. It was just a conservatory then.
So who did you stay with? Was it jazz at all, or was it just classical? Was it jazz at all, or was it just classical? And who did you?
Just classical. The three, let's see, Ron McClure was there when I was there, and Dionne Warwick. We were the 3 people.
Students.
Hmm?
You got Dionne Warwick and Ron McClure were students with you. Students, not teachers.
Yeah, students.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then after, did you graduate from Hart, or?
No. I stayed there 2.5 years, and then went to New York. Studied a little while at New York. Studied down there at the Hartnett School, getting some knowledge of the Schillinger system. It just, I stayed there, about a year.
So, what was your big break as far as gigging? When did your career start?
My career started in Hartford, Connecticut, in Connecticut, with Johnny Smith, the organist, Johnny Hammond Smith. I went on tour with him for a couple of years, and that was quite a nice experience.
Do you remember when you first got the gig? Anything stand out, or any funny, when you first got into that lifestyle or band that stood out?
No, I'd had a lot of experience playing before audiences in Germany. So it was, it wasn't. It was, big. It started my, really started my career. But I just went to work.
So out of Johnny Hammond's band, how did that go when you became a solo artist? Did you get your own record date, or did you get...
Yeah, I did, I did a lot of albums with Johnny. And uh, with my experience with Johnny, then that's how I got exposed to Prestige Records. My first recording contract was with Prestige through my work with Johnny, which was great.
So they offered you your first record,
Yep.
and then after that, did you start playing clubs and you had your own band, or?
No, I stayed with Johnny for a little while longer, and then after that, I decided that I was just going to go for it. So I went for it and started, got a band together, group together. So and started working.
So once you got your own group, were you able to work a lot, or it took a little bit to build up?
Yeah, yeah, I did pretty well. I was just handling my own. I decided I was going to be my own agent and my own manager. So I've been doing that all my life, so all my career. So
So did you ended up working in those same rooms you worked with Johnny because they knew you? Is that how it worked?
yeah, some of them, yeah.
What do you think is the difference between, if you could remember, the clubs you played at then, the club scene back then, or the clubs now?
Well, a good jazz club is just a good jazz club. But they weren't as organized as they are now. The clubs weren't, you know. Um, Now everything is a little more corporate. I guess with the age of the computer and all that stuff. But the music is still just swinging, you know.
So do you think the culture of live music has changed with the audiences?
How'd you say that?
Like the audiences in the clubs, or the culture around the live music in the jazz clubs, or just, is it different, or is it's the same feeling today as it was back then?
Well, a good audience is a good audience, regardless of what period it is, and people like to be there when it's happening with live music. There seems to be a little disillusion with recorded music. Sometimes it get a little over glossy, but live music is just spontaneous. So I would say that the audience is a good audience is a good audience. Great audience is a great audience.
So talk about how recording has changed, and I mean, you just touched on that, and what your philosophy of recording is in general.
To keep it as natural as possible. That's don't tinker with it too much. Everybody, I think, a lot of people now trying to make everything so perfect, you know. So, but sometimes in your quest to make it perfect, you pull out all those. I'm talking about in the editing process and mixing process and all that different stuff. But sometimes it's just good just to leave it right the way it is. Everybody should be able to feel the few warts in there. And that's human.
And what about producing? How many records do you think you produce for people?
Gee, I don't know. Lots of records. I've done lots of them.
I looked on this discography and it said you've done. It probably doesn't have everything. 312 recording sessions.
Gee. Well, they know.
Matt, if I may, maybe to further the point, he's as a producer. What does that mean to you to be a producer of a record? What does that entail?
So yeah, being a producer, if you produce another artist, what is that? What's your philosophy? What's your mindset? What does that entail for you?
Well, you try to see what the artist is thinking, what they want to do. Then a lot of it's administrative to trying to keep control of things. You got to watch your budget. You have to make a budget. You have to choose the musicians that fit what the artist wants to do. And his choices would come first if you can obtain them. Make sure of the time constraints that you want. And schedule rehearsals. Make sure that they rehearse because you're on a budget. And coordinate the packaging. So you got to charge all that. The musician, all he has to do is produce you to give you music and a good bunch of music that you can work with. That's what you're trying to get. And yeah, so that's what a producer does.
So how many records do you think you've been on?
I don't know that either. You want to tell me that?
How many records do you think you've made? Your own records, Houston Person Records.
I don't know. About 100. I don't know. 100 and something.
What do you think? What are your thoughts of playing with a Hammond organ, and who are your favorite Hammond organs that you played with or recorded with?
Oh, I like Hammond organ. I haven't played with it in a while, but I like it. In fact, I've got a Hammond organ record coming out in a month or so. I recorded it live in Paris, so there'll be a lot of warts in there and everything else.
Was there any organist in your career that was your favorite to play with?
I played with all of them. I have no favorites.
Jimmy, did you play with Jimmy Smith? Jimmy Smith, you play with Jimmy Smith?
Yeah. But they all had something. A lot of people get the sense that they were all about the same, but they're not. Organ players are very different in their approach.
How so?
Huh?
How so? Could you elaborate on how they're different?
Well, I don't want to, yeah. Well, you take Johnny Hammond and Jimmy Smith, and Jimmy McGriff at times prefer horns in the group and more of a swinging type thing, a bassy band thing. You took Jack McDuff he played arrangements. And Groove Holmes, another organist, he was fascinated with the bass line. He loved the bass line. Jimmy Smith was a trio guy, mostly trio. Let's see. Don Patterson, he worked a lot with Sonny Stitt. So he had those Sonny Stitt type lines he played. He played like a horn player. We like Don Patterson. I like Don. And, well, I liked all these guys. Those were the giants of the organ. Yeah.
I love this. Just aside, I love the record you made with Don Patterson.
Huh?
I love the record you made with Don Patterson where you play Red Top.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorites. Let's talk a little bit about.
Charlie Erlin too. He was a melodic guy. He liked melodies, adapting pop tunes.
Speaking of melodies, I'd like to interject. Of the people that all spoke before you about you, everyone said, and myself included, it is always taken back by your approach to playing a melody. I'd love to hear about your mindset or your emotional or your approach to melodies, because I think it's one of the things that everybody instantly attaches to with you, like how beautiful you make a melody sound, how you interpret it. So could you maybe talk a bit about that?
And can you say it to Matt when you answer?
So what's the importance? What is the importance of the melody, and kind of like why you're so good at that? What are you thinking?
Well, I like melodies. When I practice scales, and I study the composers. And try to compromise with their approach and my approach. And one of the important things too is reading the lyrics, trying to get some meaning out of what the song is about, and looking at the directions that the composer gives you, which is in the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner. It tells you exactly how he wants it played. You have a way you want it played. So I sort of get with the lyric and get with the composer and get with me, and somewhere in the middle we meet. Now, some of them I played exactly like they wanted. And when you read the lyric, you understand, and that's why it makes sense, the way they say what they wanted, So all that comes into play in approaching the melody. And then if you love the tune, anything you play, you should really love or find a way if you're going to play it. And that's what I do with all my melodies. And then I know that the audience knows some of these tunes, and they are singing it as I play it, as people have told me. Say I play the melody so, so nice that they were singing right along with me. I didn't miss a phrase, and they could in their minds have a better experience too with singing the melody. So I try to keep them, and all through my solos, which I don't solo that much anymore, improvise or play around with the melody. I try to play it exactly as it was written. If I want to play around with it sometime, I'll take a second chorus, or I'll leave it to somebody else to do. and that way it doesn't get too long and it doesn't tire them out, and we can go to another melody. So I try to keep the songs in a certain time frame, and that's my. It shouldn't be a secret. I tell everybody. Everybody asks me about the melody. How do you play the melody? I say it's easy. Yeah, all you do is look at the left-hand corner and they tell you. But in jazz, sometimes we take the tempos too fast because there's no dancing. Now, the people, jazz is dance music, really. So if you watch the dance, the people on the floor dancing, they can almost tell you what the tempo should be. And so I like to play dances and watch dances, and I get a real feeling for tempo and where they should be. Tempo is very important. And sometimes we play tunes in jazz that are so fast, but they were really ballads. So that's why people don't connect with the songs sometimes, because they're, well, taken out of context, And I found that out about a lot of music that I was doing. So I started reading the lyrics, and I approached the lyrics like it's a poem without the music. So, and then when I put those two together, I got the melody. I can, and really play it like I mean it. So that's how they get that from me.
So pretty much all the tunes you play, you know the lyrics and have thought about the meanings of the tune.
Hmm?
Pretty much every standard you're playing, you know the lyrics and have thought about what the lyrics mean, actually.
Yeah. Now, I don't have all of them, the lyrics committed to memory, but I do know what they mean. I have read them and read them. And that's what I want to know. I want to get the meaning of a song. And sometimes I transfer the meaning of a song and just use the title, but I know the lyric. See, let's see, like Lionel Bart, the guy who wrote Oliver.
Okay.
Yeah, now he wrote a tune called "Where Is Love." It's a love song, but I don't relate it to that. If I played that tune tonight, it would mean why the Palestinians and the Israelis fighting. Why is there Asian hate? These things that are wrong with society right now. That would be, I just take that title and deal with that and put it in there. My music, and get more meaning out of the title. So so you can relate about other things with just the title. But that melody is still there. And people can actually hear what I'm playing in the melody, the way I approach the melody. Because they'll come up and tell me or ask me, say, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So it's fun seeing, and it's challenging to take an audience along with you. And that's the way you do it. I mean, it's all about melody. And I take it, that's why guys who play lyrically, you can understand. Like, Miles Davis, with all the trumpeters that were around when he was playing, he approached the melody like a song of his is never entered my mind. The way he plays that song, no singer can even compete with it. And they're singing the lyric. They still compete with his version, So you can do a lot with the melody.
What makes you choose the songs you choose, or how do you choose the songs you decide to play?
Well, I look at my audience.
Oh, 1 second. I think Dan is up.
Also, I think another great follow-up question would be, based on what you just said, Houston, do you find that you have to surrender emotionally to whatever that thing is that you're trying to create in the song?
Yeah.
You almost have to go through it internally to then put it through
Yeah.
each time?
Yeah.
That's a great, I think you should ask that question, Matt, when you...
All right,
We're good.
we're good. So do you surrender emotionally to the meaning of the song or the emotions you're putting out there when you play a song?
Yeah. I want them to feel it, feel what I feel, and to feel what they feel. They have feelings, and it might have been something they never thought of. And I'm sending a message. But yeah, and then they want to know when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling good, and I want them to have the same feelings I'm feeling. And you could do that with melody. And the other thing too is to have a large repertoire. Yeah, and then you can go wherever you want to go on any given night. And there are happy songs that are intended to be happy, and there are sad songs and love songs, angry songs. So I try to give a well-balanced set and explore most of the emotions.
How many songs do you think you have in your repertoire?
I don't know. I've been listening to music for 50 years, 60, 70, 80 years. So I got a lot of tunes.
Matt,
And it's nice when when you can just pull tunes out. And I don't use a set, so I'm just there. And whatever presents itself is the last tune we just played, and then I watch the audience and get a message from the audience which way they want to go. And I try to give them a variety of tunes, and I try to play tempos and tunes that people don't play anymore. I'll challenge the audience to accept it. Yeah. Maybe they've heard a tune 50 times, and it'd be yet another version. Or maybe I'll surprise them and play the verse which they haven't heard, but the same song. Yeah, we don't explore verses enough. They do it on Broadway, but we don't do it in jazz. Not pop music. But should investigate the verses too.
What do you think about music today or popular music today?
Well, that's what it is, pop music. I have no opinion. I mean, this is America. You play anything you want to. All you got to do is find an audience that wants it. We're free to do that. And we continue to do it. And young people keep coming to jazz, you know. And some go to rock, some go to classical, some go country and western, but it's all American. So I say, do whatever pleases you.
Were you influenced by other forms of music besides jazz in your music? Were you influenced by other forms of music besides jazz in your music?
Oh yeah, yeah, all of it. Yeah, I'm influenced by gospel music, the feeling, singing with feeling. I guess that's where the word feeling with soul. Country and western, a lot of country and western, and country and western for the honesty in country and western. It's some of the most honest music, especially the lyrics. You know, mama, don't let your boys grow up to be cowboys. You know, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You know, and they cross over R&B and country and western. You know, that Nashville, Memphis thing where they do each other's music. You know, the Willie Nelson and Ray Charles combinations, and the honesty that they have in their music. You know, a lot of stuff. I listen to singing, and I'd rather hear Willie Nelson sing it, because it's just straight honesty. They say don't sing with a nasal tone, and Willie Nelson is full of nasal. I just like the honesty, you know. So yeah, I've been influenced by all of that, you know. Classical music to do that, but still be in tune and have and still have good musicianship. You want to do that. So you want to combine all that. So I was influenced by all of that.
You mentioned honesty in music. Could you?
Hmm?
You said honesty, that you like, one of the qualities you like in other musicians is when you can sense the honesty. In your opinion, how does one achieve that? How do you go to?
Well, see, that's the point. You don't teach it.
And so where does that come from, in your opinion?
Being honest is just being honest.
Just who you are as a human.
You grow up like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that comes into the music.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the country and western people do, and the R&B and early blues singers. You know, John Lee Hooker was singing 11-bar blues, and nobody told him it was supposed to be 12 bars. He just said, yeah, okay, that's all I have to say. And that's why these guys are so popular. And that's why they've survived all these years. That's what I'm talking about, honesty.
So it's a
Yeah.
human element.
Yeah, it's human. You don't teach that.
Do you see that as much today as you did coming up?
Yeah, that's all. That's always going to be around, but everybody gets caught up in technology because everybody tells, well, you can overdub that later on. You know, you can correct that. You can do this. You can do that. You can do that. Then it's not. It's good. It'll sell. It'll do what it's supposed to do, but it's not honest. Like it won't be around for 30 years, like, 40 years. It just won't be. It's like the most of our Christmas songs. Everybody records Christmas albums, but they still play White Christmas by Bing Crosby. It'll still be the most played version because it's honest. And Nat King Cole's Christmas song. So I can make a version, you can make a version, we all can make a version. And we'll get played. They'll just get played more. When they go to the record store or order the album, they'll want that version. Yeah.
Is that attainable? Will another Nat King Cole or Bing Crosby come along?
Yeah. There's always gonna be somebody. Well, you take the beginning of rap music. Rap, I don't want to call it music, but but the beginning of that was the same thing. It was a force where people wanted to play music, and they didn't have instruments. Can't have instruments, and music is such a strong thing. It's so strong that it had to come out some kind of way, so they scratch, they do anything to get the music out, and that's the drive that it has. So the beginning of that was like honest, because it was just off the street. Like the guys in New Orleans used to play on tin tubs. They couldn't afford drums. They're gonna make music somehow. That's life.
To carry on to that, what are your thoughts on music now after all this? You've seen so many styles of music and so many great musicians, and now you talked about rap, and I don't even know what you call where we're headed with popular music. But what's your honest feeling about it, and how is it? What are your thoughts on that?
What's my feeling about what now?
The current music and like where it is today compared to where it came from and where is it headed?
Well, much of it today, I don't listen to it that much. See, it's changed now because you can get Spotify and go back and live your years. Like if you came up with Paul Anka and them, you can go and get West Philly music on Spotify. Just play me that's all I want to hear. And you got it, in seconds. That's amazing, but you can get anything, Like my neighbor called me yesterday, say, "I'm listening to you." I said, "How?" She said, "Oh, I got Spotify, and I just Alexa or whatever she said. I told Alexa to play me you, and then she turned it up so I could add." I said, "Boy." So it's not where you have to do that now. Maybe some revolutionary star will come along and change it back to reality. Because one always comes along, I guess, But, you really don't have to go for the new thing. You don't have to force yourself to do it if you don't like it. Because a lot of people don't like the manipulation of sound the way they're doing it now. You know, with the overdubs and, you know, all that stuff.
What are your thoughts about tape? Is there a difference between tape, music on tape, as opposed to digitally recorded?
No, I have no feelings about it.
Okay.
I tell you what happens though. It always goes through a revolution, and there's a shakeup of things, and then we'll see what happens. You know, right now everybody's talking about going back to singles, selling singles. You can't keep up with it, so it's gonna shake out, and people are it's gonna be for saying, okay, we want vinyl. So we'll all go back to vinyl. And there's some good things about vinyl. And albums won't be so long. We all know they're too long.
You mean now with CDs and things?
Huh?
You mean CDs now and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Well, what do you think is the importance of sound for a saxophone player? Where do you get your sound from? Where did you get your sound or concept of sound from?
I practice. What do you mean?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just because you have such a unique sound, and everyone before all the horn players raved about your sound. So
Huh?
all the other horn players today raved about your sound. So, but I mean, that's for them to do.
No, I practice. I have a method of practice for sound, and everybody knows what it is. I mean, is what it is I concentrate on sound. See, a lot of all of us have something we concentrate on. Like, you know, a lot of saxophone players concentrate on technique. You know, they want thousands of notes. So, but I'm working on sound. So I always work on sound. So we all have our priorities, but they don't realize it. And there's other people, you know, when guys ask me about sound, they don't realize that you really have to work on sound. So I hold notes. I play a note and hold it for like 4 beats, and I'm counting, and go to the next note. And it's a very slow process of building up your sound. And you'll hear the sound you want. Sooner or later, you'll have, you know, you'll work for it. And it'll come, whatever sound you're looking for. But that sound was my priority.
What about the importance of blues in jazz? The importance of blues in jazz, or the blues connection to jazz.
Yeah, it's all blues. It's everything. All the pop music, everything is based on the blues. The blues comes out of the blues. So they can go wherever they want to go. Any style, and everything I do, you know, is a bluesy approach. Yeah, the blues is always around. That it gets to people, you know. It would behoove you to work on your blues.
What is blues to you? What does that mean? And where does it come from?
What is blues and where does it come from? Is what he said. What does blues mean to you and where does it come from? Is what Dean asked.
I don't know where it comes from. I guess everybody has a theory about it. Guess it came from I guess it grew out of gospel music. I guess is a sacred and a secular. Came from black people, I guess. I'm assuming, and I would say express joy and sadness, and we have a lot of that. So that's all I'm saying about blues. We know what it is. We know where it's from.
I have one more question about this. Do you
Yes,
remember
sir.
the first time that you heard or felt that feeling in your life that is blues? Like the first time you heard a musician or maybe a singer, and that you said, "Oh, this is blues." Do you remember that time?
Well, I remember hearing the jukebox, and yeah, I know what the blues was, and I heard it on the radio. You know, the blues singers. I would say that I heard it first in this form of I heard it before, probably. Didn't realize being a baby. I heard it. But then I started listening to, when I got a little older, Dinah Washington, Lionel Hampton, because she was in his band. And then I started identifying with Buddy Johnson, who was from my hometown. And then I got into the blues, really, But I always heard it. I just didn't know what it was. Yeah.
Did you have any specific mentors in blues that you mentioned Buddy Johnson? That anybody that you said, "Oh, I got to get under this guy or this girl and pick up more of this blues thing"?
Wait a minute, now do you come over here?
Was there anybody in particular that mentored you or that you followed around early because you dug what they were doing and you wanted to pick up more of it from them?
No, I didn't meet anybody in show business until late on in life. But we had a band in my hometown, though. And this family was full of musicians. One was a pianist, one was a concert artist. That's what they call the classical musicians back then. And they had a dance band. They'd play around town, and I would hear them. That was before I was playing, though. And when like I said before, when I was listening to music when I was young, it was not there wasn't categories and labels. Radio just played music, which was great then, because you had all these different styles, that were just put together, and it was just good music, and that's the way I learned music and learned about music. And till today, that's the way I listen to music now. Something I like, I like. I can't help what it is. And I think I'm blessed to be that way, because I don't miss out on a lot of the good stuff. You know. And there's some good stuff out there that other people are doing also. So I want to experience it all. And be inspired to do better myself.
Talk about the touring lifestyle, or like the rigors of touring, or the enjoyment of touring when you're traveling.
What now?
I'm asking you about like the lifestyle of being a jazz musician on the road, or touring, whether you enjoy it or if it's touring is just hard. Like you're doing all one-nighters and it's just hard.
Well, you go through periods. I enjoy it. I enjoy meeting other people and enjoy learning other people's culture and playing music for different cultures. It's really great, but it's tiring. And there are rules of the road. You got to take care of yourself, eat right, and get your rest, So it's a bit much. Traveling is hard. And I've got to watch it now. But I enjoy it, though.
Has traveling changed? And you can answer this towards Matt. Has traveling changed a lot from that when you're first starting in the 60s to now? Is it a whole different animal when you go out to travel?
Yeah. Well, earlier we were using cars. Now we use planes, at least. And now that looks like it might be hazardous at times. So, but yeah, I traveling. You just got to be careful. And there's a lot of great musicians who prefer not to travel at all, to stay home and lead a nice family life. But you can also lead a nice family life if you're traveling, So, and you schedule your time right. And that's one thing I've got to learn too now, is to really watch the traveling.
Along those lines, is would you ever consider retirement, or it's as a musician, it's just you can't stop playing?
Oh yeah, I think about it, but I say yes to everything. Like this.
You've played with an incredible amount of musicians over the years, and in a lot of different bands. And one night you'll play with a whole different group, and then the next night a whole different group. I saw you Thursday night, and it was a little bit of a newer generation of musicians. Does it feel good to know that the next generation's carrying on this type of music, that there's going to be musicians who are always going to like jazz, who are going to be able to play with you?
Yeah.
And do you enjoy playing with the newer generation? You can answer it towards
Yeah, I enjoy playing with the young musicians. I enjoy playing with new musicians. And they look to me for encouragement, and I'm glad to see them. As I mentioned earlier, they're still coming to get involved in jazz, and knowing the economic perils of it, they're still coming in droves, and that's encouraging to know, because they bring a new audience with them too. So yeah, I enjoy being around them and enjoy playing with them.
What do you think is this music's place in society, or what's a musician's role in society as a whole?
Well, all I can say is that right now, for anybody, all I can say right now, regardless of what it is, to be a good citizen. We need good citizens right now. I mean, today we need, and going forward, we need good citizens. Yeah, I don't want to go into that, but we got one political party about to implode, and then we got another one the other one is plodding along. And we need good citizens, regardless of where they're from. And musicians can do a lot because we can teach tolerance. Because we have to learn to be tolerant of each other. And we know about teamwork. In a group, and everybody having a certain role and being true to their role for the whole to benefit. And that's what we need right now. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to start a discussion. Did I get out of that?
That was good.
Smooth. You really well.
Yeah.
Matt, maybe ask some highlights of his career, and then maybe if you have anything you haven't done yet or that you'd like to do in your career moving forward.
You better do it because I'm fixing to get up from here and go home.
There's just a couple questions left. Well, I'll let that one go. We want to talk about the Newark jazz scene and Newark's importance. You lived there for a long time.
Where?
Newark, and like the Newark jazz scene. Tell us what your involvement with it and how was that important to you living there, that kind of stuff.
Oh. Well, the important thing about Newark is they had two of the premier jazz clubs around, the Key Club and the Cadillac, and the one in East Orange, Front Room. They had the Front Room there, and they had another club that Rhoda Scott worked all the time. I forgot the name of it. But Newark had a great scene for music. And the Monday night, open on Monday night was great. And then they had the matinees. Yeah, that was a booming time for music. And then it just disappeared. But it was a great scene then.
Approximately when did you live in Newark from?
I came there in '67. And still have a house there. Which are my daughters, have. But well, basically that's all I can say is that it was a great scene. And they had the Terrace Ballroom, right, giving those dances. You don't know nothing about that. See?
I played there once.
Oh, you do?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they. And I lived there, and I was traveling most of the time. When I lived there, I was going traveling.
Okay, I just got two or three more questions. So you had a funny story about a club you worked in Atlantic City, and they sent you home. Maybe you could tell us about that. You were telling before.
No. It's just that Atlantic City was open 24 hours then. The clubs were going around. Music was 24 hours a day, all night, all day. And I took a gig there, and it was too rough for me. So the club owner just paid me, told me I was a nice young man, I was going to make it, but go home, because I couldn't make this gig, play that time of night. This was 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. And I just couldn't. And I tried to go to sleep in the daytime, and I still hear music. It was just the clubs were going 24 hours. So that was my Atlantic City experience.
What about finishing up? Let's touch on all those years. What was so special about Etta Jones and your relationship?
Oh, she was with me, 35 years. And, well, 35 years, that was a nice relationship. So we had a nice time. I always wanted a singer. So when I got the best, and we had a ball. We had a ball. We went all over the world together. So she had a band and I had a vocalist. So we both were extremely happy. And I wanted, more of a show type, an entire presentation. I would have had a comedian too if I could have found one that was all right. But one day I may still do that. I want to have a complete show like they used to have in Harlem.
So sometimes I think you guys weren't married, right? Because sometimes it says online that you guys were married.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think so. I think that's it for the Talking Houston. Thanks.
Man, you got it.
That was great.
Turn this fan off real quick.
Thank you.
Uh,
I know it's kind of dry. Try my best.
all right. Uh-oh.
It's something that's never happened ever before. It's giving me some red signal thing about the internal clock, which has never happened before.
You restarted?
I did now, yeah, but it's the first chance. I couldn't do it while you were filming.
And could we connect a ribbon mic to your camera? That makes no sense.
I don't know why. Okay, let me see. Yeah, tap it for me, man. Okay, we're on. Move that to where you want it.
Can it be, what's the issue with it being in the shot, Dan?
I like it in the shop.
Okay. No issues.
Yeah, I think it
No issues at all.
Oh.
Actually, you can bring it more into shot right outside the edge of
Okay.
frame. It would look better if it's more in,
Okay.
either all the way in or not.
Okay, I'm gonna slide your case a little bit over, Houston. Is that okay?
I have your melody of "Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me" stuck
too,
in my
me
head for the
too.
last 3 days.
Me too.
I'm humming it everywhere I walk. I've heard the song my whole life, but I never hummed it so much.
Me too. I've been.
Is this good, Dean? You think a good placement?
No, I would turn it a little bit more towards him.
This?
A little. You could be about 2 feet away from him. Closer to him. Perfect.
Can we fix that cable? It's right in his face.
Pull the cable back, man. Just the cable. Undo it from the. There you go. That's it. There you go.
Yes, no.
Now, what do you want me to do?
So, I think like any tune you want to play, but not the melody. It would play like a 1-bar intro, improvise a chorus, and then do an ending. You know what I mean? Because what we're probably going to want is like a 30-second clip or a 15-second clip. So any full chorus of you improvising on a tune will be good. I don't know if we have the rights to the melodies. So kind of, a little bit of an intro, blow through one chorus, and make an ending. And if we can get a couple of those, that would be great because we can chop it up.
So basically, it'll be like little snippets of you playing in between you talking. If you want to give an example of anything to like talk about what you're doing or something, that's cool. Like say, this is how it's a melody or whatever. Anything you feel like doing.
You don't have to talk. Just we're going to get some of you playing.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Well, you want to you just want to play over some blues, or you want a tune?
Blues is good too. Yeah, blues is good too.
This is great.
Huh?
Blues is great.
That's great.
But not too long, because the best thing is.
Hey,
Sorry.
We can fade out. It
The
doesn't
young
have to
man.
You have met Matt before, right?
He's funny,
It
ain't he?
is funny.
I'll do it. Let's see. I'll do one of my things,
There you go.
and don't think you get in the way, because I got rights too.
Well, you're going to own part of the movie, so that works out for both of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, when you're ready, let me know.
We're rolling.
All right.
Oh. I think I warmed it up now. Okay. Something like that.
Why not?
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, he's still,
That's beautiful.
Is that all right?
it's great.
Oh, now we got the tape. We can roll it.
Man, don't do that.
How come we never play that one on a gig? I would love to play that one.
Huh?
We never played that one on a gig yet. I would love to play that.
Well, I never get around to it. I don't know. My head be running.
It's amazing with your phrasing. It's like I hear the little child in you. I hear the teenager. I hear the grown man and the wisdom that you got. It's all in one thing, man. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, man.
What's a ballad that you could just improvise a chorus on? Like, it doesn't have to be a full performance, if you know what I mean. We could just take a little snippet of it.
Man,
Like, Since I Fell For You, like, blow a chorus of that, or Easy Living, something like that.
huh?
Since I Fell For You or Easy Living, if you could just solo through one chorus, that would be, you know, something like that would be great.
Let me see. All right, let me see. I'm gonna play everything I got. Okay, it's short. You ready?
Rolling.
Oh, you rolling? Say something, man. But don't let me prompt you. Okay. There's one note in there. I'll show you, and you all can take it out.
What tune was that based on?
Huh?
What tune was that?
That's shit. Why did I choose you?
Why did okay? I don't know if I know that.
What was the note?
Huh?
What note was it?
I gotta tell you. I gotta show you. It's in the second half.
Well, he won't. Will you be able to take it out of the video?
Well, we don't have to use that.
Oh, that's
part of
right.
it.
You're right.
We're not gonna use the whole thing. We can,
That's right. Right.
as long as you know which one it is. We can.
Yeah.
I'll play it for you. You can tell.
Yeah.
You want to play a couple courses of blues for us?
Huh?
You want to play a couple courses of blues for us?
I thought you said that's all you needed.
Well, yeah, but I mean a couple different moods. Just a minute of a couple different moods is what we want.
Wait a minute. How did you say that?
I'm saying, okay, we got a ballad. We got Why Not. We want like a couple different moods that we can take 15 seconds or half a minute to cut, if you know, but not to tire you out too much.
Let me hear this first. Are you gonna play for me?
I can play it back for you. Hold on.
Just the second half.
All right. Let
Yeah,
me.
we'll take notes. Tell us what note you don't like.
1 second here. Oh, turn my monitors on. Man, that Dan is nimble.
Rolling.
Oh, yeah, good deal. Okay. One, two. That's it.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Houston, could you play one solo chorus
Wait,
of
rap.
Do,
Let's
Do
rap.
Nothing
Let's rap.
to Hear Me without the melody? Could you do it?
Huh?
Let's call it.
All right. Okay. All right.
What now?
Would you play one chorus of Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me without the melody? Would you consider that? And then we'll be done. Or you want to rap?
Man.
We got you here. This is a
Oh, man.
play solo one chorus.
Huh?
You want to play one chorus? Cause you got it in you, or
And I thought you had enough, man.
so one? What? Do nothing. One chorus. That's it. So done.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold up.
This is it, man.
This is it. This is it.
That's it. Oh, yes. One more time. That's it.